Hello, everybody. Welcome to Canadore College's session. I'm Daryl Oliver. I'm the recruitment coordinator for Canadore College, and I'm really happy that you're able to join us today. My title, Why a Small School Might Be Just the Right Fit for You, is definitely something I'm going to come back to a lot during this presentation. We're a small school. We're located in North Bay, Ontario. So that is roughly 3 hours away from Toronto. So right straight north. So we're near the Muskoka region, and it's a beautiful backdrop on which to study in Canada, as well as for domestic and international students. So with that said, we'll get started here. You'll notice there's some video footage that you're seeing on your screen, and this is just basic general footage from campuses. So nothing's really been edited. It's all just basic footage. And so what I will do is, because I'm sharing my screen, I can't actually see questions as they come in. So we're going to wait until the end to answer those questions, if that's okay with everybody, because it'll be easier that way as well, and nobody will miss out on any of those answers. So moving forward, first thing I just want to mention is that we are, as I discussed already, a small campus, but we actually have multiple campuses. So that screen that you saw at the beginning with the pond in the back, that's our main campus in North Bay. But we also have Commerce Court and Aviation campus, and we have a small satellite campus in Parry Sound. So at these campuses, we have basically about 100 different programs that you can take. We started actually as an aviation school back in the 70s. We also have a lot of different areas. I will go through them quickly during the course of this presentation, just so everybody can kind of get a bit of an understanding of what we offer. But I can say, as a small school of roughly 5,000 students, your classes will remain exceptionally small. So some programs, that'll be under 10 people. Other programs, you might see up to 25 to 30, but that's really the height of what you'll see as a student at Canadore College. So moving forward, I do just want to quickly talk about North Bay. North Bay is about a 50,000 person city. What's nice about that is, because we are 5,000 and we have a university attached to us as well, that's also 5,000 total students, you would make up roughly 20% of the entire population of the city. So as you could understand, they are an extremely welcoming bunch, the residents in North Bay, because they realize how important students are to the overall economy. It also helps that you've got all kinds of beautiful lakes, rivers, things that you can play outside in. We have a ski hill. We've also got lots of different activities outside. We have 3,000 kilometers of hiking trails. So lots of great stuff to see and do in North Bay. So it provides an opportunity for you as a student to not only get that true to life experience as a student with roughly, as I mentioned, 10,000 total students in the community, but you also are able to be a very important element in the North Bay scene, which certainly helps you to then get work after the fact, whether that's in North Bay or other places. We also have 12 kilometers of hiking trails on campus. So what you're seeing in front of you now is those hiking trails that we offer. Moving forward, you might notice that we have chevrons in our logo, and that's because we started as an aviation and aerospace school way back in the early 1970s. So aviation is a great area to get into for anybody that's considering trades or just generally wants to work with their hands. Aviation is a wonderful area to work in. We do have basically three core programs in this area. So we have aircraft maintenance, which is kind of like car repair, but for planes. We have avionics maintenance, which is all the electronic components in a plane. And we have structures, which is basically making parts from nothing. So it's probably the most artistic of any. What's nice about that is structures, and really all of these programs, are in extremely high demand right now. So you've got a great opportunity if you do become an aviation student. We do offer aviation fundamentals as well, which we do offer a few different fundamentals programs across aviation, business, trades, to name a few. And so what that means is you would get an introduction to each area, and then you would choose which one you want to be in your second year and go from there. So you don't actually waste any time. That fundamentals program is 1 year in length, and if it's a 2-year program you end up finishing, it'll still just take you 2 years total to finish the program. We also offer flight training programs, so we offer helicopter flight training as well as a First People's Aviation Technology in Flight program. So if you're looking at aviation, we're definitely a great choice for you. Next up, we also offer a healthy amount, I would say, of business programs. What's great about that is that you can kind of really be very specific in what you want to do. Now, as I just mentioned with aviation, we offer also a fundamentals program, which is a great way of getting to really get a ground floor kind of experience in any of our business areas. But really, I think there's a true value in that as well, because once you go to find a job, whether it's aviation, trades, business, you'll then have a whole bunch of different experience in a bunch of different areas, which will make you even better at what that core job might be, because you could help out in other areas as well. Keeping in mind that we are also just finishing up our business entrepreneurship hub. That was a $1 million project that is now just finishing up currently. This is a great way to get into the business area and learn from people that have worked in business for decades. Next up, we do offer police foundations. If you're an Ontario student, you're pretty familiar, I'm sure, with the Ontario Provincial Police. They're actually based in North Bay. That's kind of the nice part about North Bay, is that it's in the middle of the province, essentially. So it's 3 hours to Toronto, 4 hours to Ottawa. You're pretty close to almost anything you would want to do in the province. As well as having the OPP locally, they train their officers at our Commerce Court campus. As well, we have trades at that campus as well. And some of those trades are building houses from scratch. So then you're getting the opportunity to see the OPP in action, doing SWAT training with the North Bay Police Service as well. And when they hire people in the OPP, they actually do all of their physical training right at our campus as well. So you would do your test if you were trying to get a job with the OPP, and you would do that right at the same campus that you learned police foundations. Another big benefit is that I mentioned earlier, we have a university attached to us, and they also offer a criminal justice program. So really, to get a job in policing, you'd be really hard pressed to get a better experience in doing police foundations. And then if you wanted to do a criminal justice degree at Nipissing, it would still take a total of 4 total years to do both. So instead of it taking 4 to do your degree and 2 to do your police foundations program, you're just doing 4. And we have a lot of programs like that. So I just want to mention that one because it's an easy one, but there's a lot that we offer in that respect as well. We also offer community and justice services, and that's basically for anybody that wants to do anything in justice services, like maybe you want to be a parole officer, maybe you want to work with detainees, but not as a police officer. You can do that through that program. Next up, we do offer culinary as well. We do have a student restaurant that actually the deceased Queen of England actually visited in the early 1990s. It's a wonderful restaurant. So if you're a student, whether or not you're in culinary or not, the food is amazing. Last year, because of COVID, they had curbside pickup on pizzas. And I got to tell you, I loved the fig and goat cheese pizza. It was to die for. So what you're seeing footage-wise is either footage from the restaurant or footage in the kitchens. And it really is a wonderful space. You do see the televisions, I'm sure, in part of this video footage. And there are also televisions in the restaurant, which allows you to then see the students cooking your food for you while you're waiting for it to be delivered to your table, which is awesome. So we offer 3 separate programs in this area. We do offer a chef training, that's a 1-year program, a culinary management, which is a 2-year, and a cook apprenticeship as well. We also have environmental studies and biotechnology. Since we're in North Bay, we may as well make really good use of being in the environment, keeping in mind that all the footage you're seeing in front of you is actually on campus. So you're, as an environmental studies student, maybe you're in the geomatics program, maybe you're in the environmental technology program, you may be taking samples in the soil, in the pond, in the backyard, you may be on that 12-kilometer network hiking trails that we mentioned earlier. Either way, that's there for you to use as a student as part of your learning. So the real value with Canadore is that you have really small classes as well, but the programs themselves do a great job of focusing in on what you may want to do with the particular degree. In fact, we have professors that have worked in protection and compliance and the federal government as well, which is pretty cool to, if you're passionate about saving the environment, then who else would you rather learn from, right? Also, we do have a functional genomics and clinical consultation program. That's a DNA processing program. So we're one of the few schools in Canada to have a DNA processor that students are able to use. What you're doing in that program is you're basically analyzing DNA from certain people's familial DNA to see if they're at all going to be susceptible to perhaps getting dementia or getting other illnesses that might be present in the DNA, to kind of give a warning. It's a really interesting program area. It is also a postgraduate certificate program, meaning that you do have to have either a diploma or a degree before you can take it, but be aware of it because it's really, really neat. Also, we do offer a lot of programs in our health services health, wellness, and social services area. So we do offer nursing. We have both the practical nursing and the BSCN Bachelor of Science in Nursing program. What you're seeing in front of you is footage from our one-of-a-kind village facility. It's the only one of its kind in Canada. And essentially what it does is our nursing students, along with all the other students that you're seeing in the programs in front of you, would actually work in a student-run health clinic right on campus. So it's not staff or students that use that health clinic. It's actually the general public. So that gives you an experience that's not unlike working in that industry before you even graduated, which is a real value to a lot of people. We also offer dental hygiene, healthcare administration. We do have mental health programming as well in the case of mental health and addictions. We also offer PSW, SSW, OTA, PTA, which stands for physiotherapy assistant, as well as our social service worker, behavioral science, and early childhood education programs. So just be aware of that when you're considering. You've got lots of opportunity, and you may not pick the right one at first, or you might figure out through maybe working in the health clinic that you don't want to be a nursing student. Maybe respiratory therapy is more your speed. That is a great way to learn and is not by any means a setback at all, because at least you now aren't going to graduate with a 4-year degree and then not enjoy your job. So keep this in mind if you're looking at those. We actually offer some of the most advanced robots in that area. So they can blink, breathe, they can get needles given to them. They can also, like if a light's in their eyes, the robot's eyes, the pupil will dilate and expand. They can be controlled by faculty in their office. So if you're giving a needle to a child, let's say, maybe that faculty member starts screaming and out of fear, just to kind of mimic what a child might do when you're on site. So definitely a really cool area to be aware of. And finally, another really cool part is we're going to be building a seniors apartment complex right on our campus that seniors from the North Bay area will live in, and we'll have nursing students living there too, since so much of nursing is going to be moving to elderly care facilities in the country. So a whole bunch of opportunities for you to potentially get into nursing, get into a healthcare program, whatever one you're looking at, and really get to know the area, get to know the job before you've even become a fully qualified individual for that area. We also offer our Indigenous Studies programs. We're actually located on Indigenous lands that were given to us way back in the 70s to put the school on. So part of that is having our ceremony room, which is what you're seeing in front of you. So we do smudges here. It's the territory of the Anishinaabe, and so we have powwows every year. We do 2 of them, one in this September and also one in winter, which provides, again, our students an opportunity to learn from the cultural aspect of having Indigenous culture right on campus. We also have a First Peoples Center that anybody can go into and learn more about the Indigenous culture in the North Bay area. We do offer a few programs as well. So maybe you wanted to be in Indigenous preparatory studies, pre-health sciences, or even do a community-led training or Indigenous wellness and addictions prevention. You can focus specifically on Indigenous studies if that's what you wish. Next up, we have our IT programs. So we do offer a few in that area, programmer analyst, as well as a systems technician in networking. We had a really big piece of news that came out about a month ago, maybe more, because I'm getting older and can't remember when time goes by anymore. But we have a cybersecurity firm that's entirely Canadian relocating from Toronto to be at our Commerce Court campus. So they're going to physically move to North Bay. This is a bit of an odd one, but we actually have the fastest internet speed in Canada in North Bay. So it kind of makes sense. And that cybersecurity firm, their only client is the Government of Canada, protecting government websites. So as a student, what a great opportunity to potentially work at this IT firm after you've graduated, since they are going to be physically right on campus. So if you like IT, definitely there's a lot of jobs in that area as well. Just quickly make note that as a programmer analyst or a systems technician, you would either be working on obviously IT or networking, but as a programmer analyst, you would actually kind of take the part of now I'm forgetting what the name, Anonymous. So Anonymous is the group probably everybody knows that's watching this, but Anonymous is the kind of the person that kind of knocks off the bully in a very anonymous way. So they play that part when you're programming things in that program. So you would basically do your programming, but then you would also analyze and try and hack your fellow students' work at the same time. So pretty cool idea. We also offer preparatory studies, so if you don't have a high school credit that you need, you can certainly take it right through Canadore. If you, since you're probably most likely from high school though, I'll leave it at that because you're probably in the programs that you like, but just remember that if you do need any other credits, we do have that as well. And then this is a neat area to be aware of. North Bay is actually, it sounds odd to say, but is a movie capital in Ontario. They film about 40 movies and TV shows in a calendar year in the North Bay area. So we have programs that reflect that. So one of the things that we offer is we're the only school in Canada to have a full Dolby Atmos movie theater right on campus. So as a student in the post-production program, that is basically editing films down to their final copy. And what's cool is that we also have a lot of production studios that will edit their final copy of their movie in that space. So I've been on campus and I've tried to get in there, but there's a company from Hamilton or there's a company from Toronto that's editing their film down and finalizing it. So that's pretty cool to be aware of. We also offer digital cinematography, which is making movies. Our students win film festivals every year by through submitting them into film festivals, which is a pretty cool thing too. So if you ever wanted to make a movie, this might be the program for you. We also have a broadcasting program, so basically working with cameras in a broadcasting capacity. We have digital visual effects, so if you want to do visual effects as part of movies, you can certainly do that as well. We also have acting for stage and screen, so if you want to act, you would also work in student-run films, but because there's such a community of movie making in North Bay, you could also work in those films as well. And we have graphic design and game design. So game design is a pretty cool program. We actually just hired a new faculty member who is from Sudbury, Ontario, and he was a trucker, and he decided he didn't want to truck anymore, and he wanted to make a game. So he taught himself using YouTube, and now we've hired him to teach in our program. That game he made actually sold millions of copies, and so as a result, made a lot of sense that he would no longer be a trucker. And so now he owns his own game design studio, and he's actually releasing the second version of that game very, very soon. We also have a recording engineering music production program too. That is a really neat program. The person who runs that program, Mr. Ben Leggett, is not only one of the nicest people I've ever met, but he's also an award-winning recording engineer. So he won an award for recording Craig Cardiff's Album of the Year, and so he won a Juno for that, which is really, really cool. And all the faculty in that area have recording studios of their own and work with artists. So they've worked with Shania Twain, Celine Dion, Bare Naked Ladies, all kinds of artists, in fact. So you get that experience, part of that experience as a student. Next up, we do have some sports and rec programming. So we have rec and leisure services, rec therapy, as well as strength and sport. What you're seeing in front of you is our new fitness facility at our College Drive campus, but every campus has a fitness facility. They also have a student services office, which I'll tell more about in a bit. But that is absolutely yours to use as a student, and they are beautiful. They're 3,000 square feet, so for our size, that certainly is big enough for us. And if you're interested in strength and sport, as an example, we usually win the weightlifting and powerlifting awards every year as Canadore College. So if you're looking to be a personal trainer, or if you want to work with becoming a recreational therapist for any kind of capacity, whether you could be working in a case, you could be working with old age groups, you could be working with kids. Either way, that's another cool area to get into. And then finally, we do have traditional trades as well. It's going to be a long list of trades here, but if you're interested in the trades, it's definitely a great area to get into, just like I mentioned earlier with aviation. So we do have a few. Construction project management is a new program, but we also have civil engineering technology. So that wouldn't be engineering an actual drawing of a new building or a new roadway or bridge. That would be taking the measurements and installing these things. We also have an electrical techniques program. So that would be basically the first level of your apprenticeship will be covered by that. We also offer plumbing, welder fitter, machinist, motive power, which is being a car repair tech, as well as motive power fundamentals, which is working on sport vehicles. And then we have mechanical engineering and a construction carpentry program. So construction carpentry is the program where you're building houses as part of your time on campus. So you build 3 houses, I believe, in that program, which is pretty neat. We also offer skills apprenticeships as well, and trades fundamentals, which means you get an introduction to every area in this capacity. So definitely a really cool area to be involved in. And if you do have questions about any of these programs, I will have my information on the screen by the end of this presentation. So please don't hesitate to email me about any program area. We also have an interest in student life. So with those 3 campuses, they are all different sizes, which makes it feel even smaller. So our aviation campus is only 500 students. Our Commerce Court is roughly 1,500 students. And our College Drive campus, which is the largest of the 3, is roughly 4,000 students. So you definitely get a smaller experience, but you also, as I mentioned earlier, have the university attached. So you're never really going without being around people, which is really awesome. Student life-wise, you've got lots of clubs you can take part in, intramural athletics. You've also got varsity athletics. So we offer a volleyball varsity team, which they do really well every year, especially considering that we're not that big a school, as well as a basketball, soccer team, and an esport athletics team. So we have our Sony Atrium, in which we have our gaming theater, and they actually broadcast all of the esport competitions on Discord and Twitch, which is what the broadcasting students do, which is really, really cool. And they even have commentators. So if you're interested in any of those teams or want to get more information, it is on our website, which is canadorecollege.ca. Next up, residence is a pretty big consideration to be aware of. What's nice about our residences is getting a single room that you share your apartment complex, essentially, what's the word for it? Apartment is 2 bedrooms. So you would have your bedroom, and then you would have a roommate that also has a single bedroom of their own. We are one of the only schools left that offers you a full kitchen, so you don't have to buy a meal plan. You can if you'd like. There's yearly, semestered, and a swipe and save option for you if you're interested, but you don't have to buy it because the full kitchen is there for you. In any case, you will certainly not be too upset about the fact that you'd only have to share a bathroom with one person. Since I know there is some international students as well on this call, I do want to just mention we do have 4-bedroom apartments as well, so you can be in those, but you'll notice that there's 2 bathrooms in that facility, so you're still only sharing a bathroom with one other person. And the other benefit is you get a living space as well, so a little living room along with your kitchen, 2 bathrooms and 4 bedrooms. So it definitely doesn't feel really tight, and nor are you usually living with anybody that you're not necessarily wanting to be with, because you will do a personality test as part of the application. The bed is actually a double extra long bed too, so it's bigger than a twin bed, which people always say to us is great because they're really comfortable, and they're also obviously a much larger bed. So it's a win-win for you as a student for sure. Our residences are actually owned and managed by, not owned, I shouldn't say that, but managed by a hotel management company. So that is a big win for you as a student, because I personally never enjoyed living in residences. I never actually went to Canadore, so I think I would have had it been Canadore, but they are so clean because it's a hotel management company, which is a big win for you as a student. As a heads up, as I think I kind of mentioned earlier in this presentation, domestic students, meaning otherwise known as if you're a Canadian resident or citizen, you will be in the 2-bedroom unit. If you are an international student, you'd be in the 4, just because we want to make sure you don't get any culture shock at all during your time with us. So the 4-bedroom is meant to keep you engaged with people that might be from a country near yours or even from your own country. So it's nice to know that you won't be just randomly placed with people that you don't know and be uncomfortable with that. Next up, we do offer a bunch of different student services. This is pretty much the same no matter what school you go to, because the government of Canada basically made us all have the same student services, which is a good thing, obviously, for you as a student. So if you have an IEP in high school, or you just need some extra help, they have all kinds of services. I won't name everything. The only thing I will say is that it doesn't cost any money. The only thing that does is if you need tutoring, you'll pay $20 to the tutor, but that's a direct transaction between the two of you. So if you tutor, you get paid directly from that student that needs your tutoring as well. So definitely a win-win for you And it's just good to be aware that all of these things are there 100% of the time for you. So don't at all feel like you shouldn't or feel uncomfortable using the services. We have lots of people there to help you out. Finally, the other thing that I'll just mention really quickly for student services is that if you're doing an examination, you can actually rent out a small office space, which will keep your space really quiet, and it'll be very helpful because if there's anything I learned from being a student in college and university, it's that there's nothing worse than that fall semester at the end, because usually people get sick. I don't mean COVID, but usually people get sick, and so then they're coughing and sneezing the entire time during the exam, which then means obviously that it's distracting to you. So just be aware of that you can rent out one of these little examination rooms, and you'll probably do a lot better on that exam when you can focus on it. Finally, we do have a Center for Career Development, so we hire about 400 different students every year. So you could work in our office, you could work in the admissions office, registrar's office, anywhere basically at the school. You work 10 hours a week. It is meant to obviously keep your focus on your studies as opposed to on anything else, but it also obviously keeps your bills a little bit less than it allows you to afford your bills, is what I'm trying to say. They also do resume writing and interview skills workshops, and once you've graduated, you also have a lifetime access to their job board. So they have about 300 jobs, could be more than that. It's about 30 pages across the country and some international jobs for you to apply for. So you get that as a graduate of Canadore as well. So definitely a win-win for you. Then finally, we've also become an innovation and sustainability leader when it relates to our campus. So we've got a whole bunch of different things like our grow pods that you're seeing in front of you. We make about $13 million worth of food. We have our wellness garden for meditation and any just general mindfulness there for you. We've also got a whole bunch of different elements as well that we're really excited about moving forward. So we just opened a water treatment facility on campus. We've also got a Fill It Forward campaign, which is every time you fill your water bottle, you scan the barcode and a small donation is made to charity. We're doing seniors care right at our village facility as well, which is a big win. So students have access to them, but those seniors also have physiotherapy classes and all kinds of offerings that they can take part in at the village. The sports dome that you may have noticed flash by, that is coming in this year, so they're going to start building it. I believe they have already actually started building it, so it should be open for September 2023. So if you're thinking of September, then you'll have 365-day-a-year sports for cricket, golf, and all kinds of other sports right there. We also have our iCamp facility, which is a prototyping and manufacturing depot right on our Commerce Court campus as well. So really exciting, definitely something that we're really proud of, and wanted to share that with you for sure. And then finally, you do get a lot of perks as being an alumni. They actually are working right now on making this something that all students would receive, regardless of whether or not you've graduated yet or not. So you would save on entertainment, travel, flights, all kinds of different things. You would just download the app on whichever app store works for you and go from there. So pretty cool opportunity. And with that, this is just going to show you a little bit of how to access some of our information. So the Join Us page is our recruitment website. We've got a whole bunch of different things here. We've got $5,000 tuition credits that we will be drawing for at probably in August. So that would usually pay for everybody's tuition, assuming you're a domestic student, and is a big help for Fording College. You just need to fill this form out that you're seeing in front of you. So if you just click the Join Us button there, it'll come right up. We also offer virtual tours, which you'll see shortly, and we do offer in-person tours as well. So you can book a tour by clicking that box. Just be aware that is not actually currently up on our website because all of us in the recruitment office are traveling right now. However, you would pick a date as you're seeing kind of example given, and then there'd be times pop up and you'd be able to kind of then pick what day and what time you'd like. We also offer virtual tours as well. So at each of our campuses, we have a virtual tour. At residence, there's one as well. And so we do have a little audio with it as well. So if you're needing to or want more information that's verbally spoken on screen, it's right there for you. This is our aviation campus. We've won a lot of awards with Skills Canada over the years, so that's why there's so many awards there. And you notice it's a pretty small campus, but it's also a really cool campus. What you're seeing in the background when the windows were up on the right-hand side there is actually the runway for the North Bay airport. And so we have the ability to land any kind of plane at that airport, which is great. And so that's a big win for you as a student if you're interested in aviation, that the campus is right there. Finally, that's basically it for the presentation. So I will move forward to just giving you my information. So I will say, I don't know why they put my phone number on, because I am constantly at school events and I likely won't be able to answer. So please just feel free to email me. There's my email address right there, daryl.oliver@canadorecollege.ca. And I can certainly answer any other questions that you may have. But with that in mind, I'm going to leave this up, but I'm going to make my way to the Q&A. And let's see. Ooh, there's lots of questions. Oh boy. Okay. So the first question that I'm seeing is, what are the requirements to get admitted? So you can find that information on our program guide. So from our website, you would just go essentially to uh, um, the downloads page, and you'll find our program guide there. It's a downloadable document, and it will tell you exactly what the requirements are. We have almost 80 programs in total. So as a result of that, it's good to be aware that obviously you want to know what the requirements are. So that would be what I would say to do that. Alicia asking what the acceptance rate is. That's a hard one to answer because it'll vary by program. So nursing is going to be one of the more competitive program areas, but it's good to know that we're not a massive school, right? So it does change year to year because that particularly is a limited enrollment program. But typically most programs at Canadore, as long as you have over a 70 average, you more than likely will be able to then be able to get an offer of admission. And so that's definitely something to be aware of. I'm trying to see what my next question might be. Do we offer OTA in any of the campuses in Canadore? So I'm just going to assume this because we do have an OTA program, Occupational Therapy Assistant program, and that would be at our College Drive campus. So in the Village facility, the brand new 2-year-old facility, yes, we do have it. So just be aware that it is a highly competitive program. So again, check that program guide available for download on our website, and it'll give you a little bit more information as in terms of what you might need to be admitted. Next question, what is the competitive admission average for your 4-year BSCN program? So we actually just started offering it. This was our first year offering the program. So I believe for the first year, it wasn't a competitive admission because we didn't actually have enough applications. We only opened that program in May. So no, we didn't get all the applications we would have normally gotten when you open a program in September for applications. So hard one to answer. I'm going to guess that it'll be a roughly 85 to 90 that you'll require, but it could be less. And so I do believe it's worth an application. Being the only school that has the facilities that we do have, I think is a huge win. So I would still apply. Definitely come for a tour if you can. We'll actually give you a gas card if you'd like to come for a tour, but you think we're too far away or it's too costly for you. We will give you a $100 gas card to attend a tour. So be aware of that, and hopefully that will help. We also will arrange for faculty to be on campus that day so that hopefully we can get you speaking to them as part of that tour. The next question is, what is the most competitive program? That's a hard one to say. I would say nursing, just because that's probably the easiest one to identify. It's actually one of our only limited enrollment programs. We don't have a whole lot of limited enrollment programs, so that's a good one to be aware of. Now, I'm going to ask, are there dorms available for students, and how much does it usually cost to live at the dorms? It's actually not that expensive because you don't have to buy a meal plan. So it's under $1,000 a month. That includes obviously everything you would need, hydro, water, everything in one package. It even includes a basic cable package and your internet that, as I mentioned, is one of the fastest in Canada. So that's really good to be aware of. There is a May 1st deadline to apply for residence. So just be aware of that because it's really important that you do apply by May 1st so that you save your spot. You aren't forced into staying there at that point. It just puts your name on the list. So it's good to be aware of that. Is there a varsity women's soccer team? So the soccer team is actually an indoor soccer team, and I'm not sure they actually qualify as varsity. So that's something to be aware of because it's a club sport, and I don't want to mislead anybody, obviously, for that reason. Do we offer financial assistance to students outside of the province? Some. I can't say it's a huge amount. We do offer roughly $5 million in total funding for our students, and of course, only having 5,000 is that's a pretty good number. However, for international or out of province, it does differ slightly. We do have all of our awards that at least we give right on our website. And so if you go to the financial aid tab on the website, you'll see those there. They don't actually open those applications, however, until usually mid-August. So it's definitely a late application period. So be aware of that. Do you have a number limit for accepting students from each province? Nope, there is no such limit for provincial applicants to come on in. So yeah, I wouldn't, there's really nothing else to say with that answer. Let's see, what would be the next one? Is there an average GPA to maintain? There will be for every program, typically not a very high number. I would imagine it would be around 60. To be fair, I don't really know the answer to that question, but you'd have to basically be failing all your classes in order to get kicked out. So you don't obviously want to do that, and you should certainly use student services should they be able to help you get to a point where you're not kind of feeling like you're going to be kicked out of your program, obviously. Best part about the campus, to be honest, that's a great question. I love that one. As somebody who's worked for a few years now in a variety of different areas, both at the college and outside of the college, I think it's just the great part about being on a campus and for an employer that we're not super busy. So our campuses are really nicely not in the center of a city, which makes it a lot quieter and a lot more easygoing. And I think that's a really nice part about the Canadore campus. And I think that's a great part for students to be aware of. So thank you for asking that question. I'm going to try and scroll through and see if I can see any other questions that I haven't answered yet. So I do see there's one program from Sashila that's asking about what grade is required to get into the OTA program and how big are the class sizes. So because it's competitive, can't really answer that question in terms of the grade required. It'll fluctuate year to year. There is the program coordinator's information. If you look up the occupational therapy assistant program page on our website, then go to contact button, that's the coordinator. That would be a great question for them. How big are the classes? I would say less than 30 because I can comfortably say that, but I don't have a real exact number for you. So I would ask that question into your email to that coordinator at the same time. Let's see if there's any other questions that I can see here. What academic support services are available? There's all kinds. Really, it's up to you to just get in touch with them. They do want you to get in touch over the summer months, so well ahead of time, so that they can put a plan together. So regardless of what you need, whether it's you might need somebody to take notes for you, or you might have a hearing issue that you need to have special, maybe it's a piece of technology, maybe it's something else, they'll figure that out. So whether it's a visual impairment or any kind of impairment, they'll figure that out for you. So it's good to be aware of that. So definitely get in touch with them. Their office name is Student Success Services. And if you do end up accepting an offer to Canadore, that's what I would say is your best bet to then get in touch at that point. Let's see. What's the next question? How many mature students does the college accept? Personally, don't know the answer to that question. I apologize. However, there's always going to be a certain amount. I would likely say there's roughly 10% are probably mature students. If you are a mature student, hey, so am I. I went and did about, how many years of schooling did I do? I did about 8 years of post-secondary. No, actually, no, it's 10 years of post-secondary schooling. Maybe I didn't go to school long enough because I can't even count the amount of years, but I wouldn't be too concerned. Everybody's an adult, and I've been a student at campus as a mature student as well. I didn't feel any sort of sense that, that I wasn't welcome or cared for. So definitely a good question, but that's what I would say. Let's see, is there any others that I haven't answered? I just need to scroll up. Give me 1 second here. Does the culinary management program offer a study abroad option? It actually does. Great question. So in Limerick, Ireland, you can do I believe it's a semester there. And I actually did a Limerick, Ireland, what do you call it? Basically a exchange program. And so it was amazing to me that Canadore does as well, specifically for culinary. So it was really cool. To the person that said that looks amazing, thank you. I think it is amazing. I think that we provide something that a lot of students could use, and that is having a smaller sized area. One thing I didn't mention in my presentation is that every program area has faculty that have experience. So whether it's movie making, you've got people that have made movies. Whether it's aviation, you've got people that have their pilot's license and take people on fishing trips and all kinds of different things because they own a plane. And so that is a huge win for you as a student, because it means not only do you get a relationship because of our size with your faculty member, but secondly, you're likely to get a job because they know the people that are hiring, and because they know who you are, they're going to definitely make sure that you know of any employment opportunities that might be available in the communities or outside of the communities that maybe you would want to be aware of. Let's see, is there a co-op option in the culinary management program? There is not a co-op option, but I do believe that the co-op is kind of built in a way because we have our student restaurant as well. So be aware of that. In a lot of our areas, we do offer co-ops in a lot of programs, but we also offer co-op basically as a student when you're learning. So it's definitely a really cool thing to be aware of, that there is such a ability to get a co-op and not have to go somewhere or work for a company. You can get it right there in the program itself. Now, let's see, trying to see if there's any. How big are the classes? I think I answered this already, but our classes range from under 10 to roughly 30. That's about the limit. So definitely a good thing to be aware of. And then what are the requirements to get admitted? You can actually find that on our website. There's so many, we have almost 100 programs now, so be aware of that. And finally, I don't know if Alicia is still on the call, but you asked what our acceptance rate is. As long as you're over a 70, and if you're applying for a program that isn't a limited enrollment program, you're typically going to get an offer. So I think I covered all of the questions that I can see, but I'll take one more look. There is a question about what is the tuition cost. I'm not sure if I answered that one. You can find the tuition for both international and domestic, in other words, Canadian students, on every program page, which is great because nothing to hide, obviously. What are the dorms and student community like? I think that's a really interesting question. I think it's a great one because I graduated from that university that I mentioned that's attached to us. And because there's both the university and college, we're double the size. So we're 10,000 total students, and there's no way of telling which school a student might go to just by their appearance, unless they're wearing something that says what school they go to. So I think it's a great environment for students. It allows that smaller sized environment to focus in. I went to a big school my first year. It was a terrible experience. I felt like a completely forgotten about person in every class I was in. And then I transferred to the university that we're attached to, and I found it was a completely different experience. So sometimes I think the big school sounds enticing. They can say all these things that they offer, but really, when it comes down to it, what you really want is that connection with your prof. That's going to be the easiest way to maintain your interest and to be successful. So yeah, good to be aware of. I'm just going to see, I don't think there's any other questions. And it looks like I am 1 minute and 10 seconds away from this ending. So I'd like to thank everybody that has joined in today and had questions. Again, you see, or saw, I should say, my email. Please get in touch with us if you have any questions. And if you are interested, please let us know. We can get you in for a tour and get you a gas card so that it's a little less expensive for you. And I think once you see what we have to offer, it'll be a pretty clear and obvious choice. So thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the fair. I will be in my booth for the rest of the event, so that will take us to 9 p.m. where I am anyway. If you're in a different time zone, it might be a little different. But come and see me, say hi, ask any other questions if you'd like. Thank you so much.